The opinions expressed are those of the show's host, guests, and callers, and not those of WSTU. It's time for Let's Get Digital Treasure Coast with digital marketing experts Megan Nager and Corey Turner. Let's Get Digital Friday, marketing for the modern age. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to Let's Get Digital. I'm your host, Corey Turner, and I'm with Megan Nager.
Hello, good morning.
So today we're going to talk about content. And because there's so much to go over with digital content, we're going to split this up into two different episodes. So today's our first. We're going to dive a little into the surface level of content and, show you our tips and tricks along with things we've learned over the years.
Yes, because I love to say, well, I think other people say this, but content is king in the sense that if you do have a business online and you're getting into social media, then making content consistently is super important for your brand or business. And if you're not, you're probably missing out. So, when we first started writing this episode, there's like so much to cover on this topic because it's like, where do you even begin with creating content? But we're going to start with basically describing what we do, because what we do is create high quality digital content for brands and businesses that drives in customers and new, customers, people who are into your brand or business, fans, etc., whatever it is that you're promoting. And when we refer to digital content, what we're saying is essentially pictures, videos, blogs, graphics, anything that you're going to post on your social media, your website, your landing page, emails, etc. So basically any content that lives online. And Corey and I usually focus on video because that's our specialty. But for the sake of giving you guys advice for creating any type of content, we are splitting it into two because there's we could spend a whole episode just talking about blog content, for instance. So we're going to focus mainly on video. And then next week, we're going to give you guys very specific examples of things you can create for your own brand or business if you don't have the money to pay someone else to make it. So that being said, we know that Corey, you want to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, a quick, if this is your first time joining, we are Wake and Make Media, a marketing company based out of the Treasure Coast, and we specialize in video production. So we actually know what we're talking about here. We spent decades of our lives in Los Angeles working in the Hollywood film industry, and most recently in Charlotte, North Carolina. And now we are in the Treasure Coast, and we couldn't be happier to be here. We are doing video content. We've done everything from music videos to feature films to more recently commercials, marketing commercials, everything from 15-second ads that you'd see on a social media campaign to 3-minute ads to 30-second broadcast things that played over the Super Bowl. So we try to do the best quality content we can with what the means we have. So I just want to quickly say that for the newbies.
No, it's good. As a refresher, yes, exactly. We are a marketing company that specializes in creating high quality digital content, like Corey said. And again, our focus is definitely video. And what we mean by that is that posting video on your social media platforms that will generate new business. So what we mean is we create videos that you can post on your Instagram, you could post on your Facebook, you could post on your website, you could post on your
YouTube, and then you can take that video on your YouTube and put it on your website,
Exactly. Yeah. You can reuse content. And next week, we're going to get into that about how it probably seems impossible to create content for all of these social media channels. But we will explain there's ways to really simplify that and reuse content or even chop it up into little pieces. So you have content for months out of just one big piece of content. Okay. So that being said, we know that not most people don't have the money to pay other people or companies like us to make content for them. It can get pricey. I think we have great prices, but
we have the best prices in town. wakeandmakemedia.com.
We do. No, to be honest, though, we're used to working with artists on a budget in Los Angeles. And when I say they're on a budget, they are completely broke. So we have learned to work with people who have different budgets and go from there, because we can do everything from filming a video on your iPhone as opposed to bringing out our cinema cameras and making a whole production. So if you're, you can scale the type of content you want to create in order to save money.
And also with technology growing so rapidly, the barrier to entry is much more simple and more cost effective than it ever has been before. Because before, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you had to buy a film camera to make it actually look cinematic, bunch of lights, bunch of super hot lights that are very expensive. And now we basically own a production company, out of our garage. We have enough gear out of our studio to compete with, feature films and everything like that. We have 3 cinema cameras. We have LED lights that are cool, many of them, professional microphones, everything like that. And so that's how we can, facilitate extreme quality on
low budget.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, not to toot our own horn, but no, the reason why companies, because you can go to a marketing company and say, not to get too in the weeds with this, but you can say, hey, I want content for my YouTube channel. I mean, companies in LA, especially bigger companies that have a bunch of employees and all these insane cameras that are really the same as ours, they'll charge like 10 grand a month to do that stuff. Whereas it's just us two and we own all of our own equipment. So that price is like crazy to us. So we would never charge someone that much to create a month's worth of content. Okay, so AKA you should hire us.
Wake and make media.com.
So, but again, if you do want to do it on your own, we know it can be very overwhelming. So we're here to cover that today. And last week we talked about social media and the various types of social media platforms. And we know there are a lot. If you missed that, you can always catch our episodes on Let's Get Digital. It's on Spotify, Apple Music.
Everywhere you get your podcast. And now we are filming the episodes. So if you like to check out last week's episode, check out our YouTube channel, Wake and Make Media, and you'll be able to see our beautiful faces.
Exactly.
Live in 4K.
Exactly.
Not live.
Not live in 4K. But yeah, if you want, you could take notes, you could write down what we're talking about, etc. Because we do cover a lot of like minutia that you might want to rehear. Okay, so what today we're going to do, I feel like I've said this a million times, but we're going to provide tips, tricks, and advice on how to create digital content for your brand and business on your own, doing it starting today. And again, this is huge. So we're not going to shove a universe of knowledge into 1 hour. Again, why we're splitting it into 2 parts. So just for this episode, we're going to focus on how to get started creating content for the various types of content you can create. And then next week, we're going to give you guys a ton of ideas of content you can create yourself, which is going to be really valuable because we're basically just throwing out a bunch of free ideas that, I mean, has taken us like years to learn.
We're here to bring value to you.
Yes, love that.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, so first of all, I want to start off just by re-emphasizing the power of social media. Because again, if you're not on it, no matter what age you are, 85, you can benefit from being on social media if you're trying to get some sort of sale or new customer, etc. According to Business Wire, as of 2022, there are 4.62 billion social media users worldwide. And those users spend an average of 2 hours and 25 minutes on social channels every single day. So that means basically, if you are not on social media, you're missing out on getting a whole lot of eyeballs on your stuff. And additionally, social media is a great way to build your brand awareness, develop customer relationships, and you can directly sell to your customers. So instead of waiting for someone to come into your store, for instance, or email you about being interested, you can literally direct message someone and say, hey, I want to buy that shirt, or I want to buy that table, or whatever else you're selling. You can also physically purchase stuff on Facebook and Instagram as well directly, which cuts out a whole lot of time. So
if you wanted any more information, last episode we did was all about social media. So, we went really deep into it. Just FYI.
No, and all the stats about who's on social media,
what platforms to use, what's growing, what's not growing, etc.
Exactly. So again, why creating content is important. A lot of people are like, why do I need to make business videos or pictures for my social media? It sounds stupid. I'm not getting sales. Like, what's the point? It's a lot of effort, etc. I totally get it. But it really is today, especially in 2022, the absolute best marketing practice you can partake in. And that's because when you create content, you're providing free and useful information to your customers or your audience. You're attracting potential customers. And you're retaining existing customers through engaging with them, which is a lot harder to do if you see someone who comes in your store every maybe few months. You say hi, whatever. That person you could reach out to. Maybe they have friends. It's just easier to interact with people on social media because it's so direct and immediate.
And you're always in the front of your customer's mind.
Yes.
So I always tell our clients, I mean, that's so, so important. Once you get them in the door the first time, that's fantastic. But people have short attention spans. They might forget. So you really want to stay in front of their mind. So if you can get them to follow you, you can get their email address, and you could constantly send them content. They could, you can make video content so they could see your face. That's so important because next time they're going to need your services, you're obviously going to be the one they go to.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, sometimes people will, you could even if you're looking at what you're following some of your customers and they're posting their own content, even if it's just a personal page, you can see what they're interested in. People have put on their Instagram stories or even made a post saying, hey, interested in, I'm looking for someone to create a video for said whatever production this weekend. Boom. You see that you're a production company, you can reach out to them, you're hired immediately. So it really cuts out a lot of time and effort. And according to HubSpot, where we got these stats, almost 40% of marketers say that content marketing is the most essential part of their marketing strategy. And 81% say their company sees content as a major business strategy. So again, if you're not making content, you really are missing out because content equals business growth. You like that? You like that?
I love that. That is my motto. I have that tattooed on my back.
Wow, that's a big deal. I didn't know that. So first off, types of content to create. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, I understand. We're talking about content you can put online that's going to get you seen. So the biggest ones out there, I'm sure there are more. If you think of others, please let me know. But these are ones that you and I really focus on and are probably the most popular ones. Mm-hmm. So videos, pictures, blogs, graphics, and podcasts. I guess, and radio. This counts.
Radio, podcast, audio. Audio is a great one. Yeah, like audio encompassing both.
Oh yeah, audio. I guess. Yeah, that works.
I mean,
okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so audio could include podcasts and radio. So anything you're doing to just talk about your brand and business, if you can translate and put that online, that's content for you. Okay, so it can be a lot more simple than it seems at the beginning. And with all of these that we mentioned, there are so many different things you can do with each type of content. And we're going to get more into that tomorrow when we give you specific ideas. But for instance, you can be informational. You can do reviews. You can give advice. You can talk about your life stories. I'm a comedian, so I create comedic digital content where I'm never directly selling anyone, but working as an actress, I create a comedy sketch that's just 60 seconds, put it on my Instagram, and I cannot tell you how many acting jobs I've got hired off of just posting a 1-minute silly sketch of me pretty much embarrassing myself.
Totally. and yeah, I mean, the best kind of content that you can do is the kind of content that you enjoy.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so if you're petrified of being in front of a camera, you could write something. Know, if you are illiterate, you could speak something and do radio or podcast. That's not a joke. I'm actually serious.
Yeah, no.
And also maybe none of those sounds like something you'd be into. You can also make an infographic. Maybe you're great at design. All these different things that you can do to set yourself aside from your competitors and also give information is so valuable.
Totally. And exactly like Corey said, I've worked with a lot of people, particularly women, to film content. And I think this probably applies more to women. I'm not speaking for all men, obviously, but I know women, if you're going to shoot videos, get very like, I've worked with a woman who is like a chef. I've worked with someone who actually had her own marketing company where she only worked with female entrepreneurs, and they were working with me to create video content. And both of them were absolutely petrified. They would spend like 4 hours doing their makeup. One of my friends was getting her hair professionally done every time she'd be on camera, and she'd have to like take a Xanax beforehand. It was just like she would freak out. And so eventually, after working with her, she did relax, and it became a lot more simple. And I think she realized that you could just lift up your iPhone, and really people appreciate authenticity. You don't need to be like perfect looking and have everything recited or memorized, so you're like reading a script. But at the end of the day, she realized, hey, I really hate being on camera. I don't want to do this. So it was like, okay, that's fine. Let's start a blog. So now she blogs. She has a super popular cookbook blog, and she's turning it into, she's literally publishing a cookbook next month, all based off of a blog that she started a few years ago because she was too scared to be in front of the camera.
Also, her food is like the most photogenic food I've ever seen in my life. Like it is just like beautiful.
Yes, it's exactly. So another thing too is Corey and I were like, hey, instead of, again, getting on camera and talking, because to be honest, you can tell if someone's super uncomfortable on camera and it's not going to translate well. So she started getting a professional photographer to photograph her food. So now she posts blogs and just pictures of her food. That's it. She's grown, I think, like 30,000 followers in a year. And she's literally making a cookbook with a celebrity chef. So it majorly paid off.
And you know what? 30,000 followers isn't just a vanity thing. You know, those are customers, and they're paying customers, paying for the books, paying for her food, you know, everything. So she built that. We built that. You know, empire for her. With her. And it's just doing fantastic.
Now. She was like, at first she was making no money, freaking out. Now she's like killing it. She just did like a big dinner that she catered for like one of the Kardashians. So not that you care about the Kardashians, but she's done very well. So steps to create content, because you're hearing all this and you're like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Where the hell do you even begin? Do I do a blog? Do I do videos? Do I do graphics? I don't know how to make graphics, whatever. Totally understand. So the first step that I always suggest is do research and make a plan, which sounds vague, but basically, like we've mentioned, there are so many social media apps. We covered that yesterday, and we went through literally like the age demographics of each one.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So again, did I say last week?
You said yesterday.
Oh, sorry. Last week. It's been a long week.
We're here every Friday at 9.
It's been a long week. So you can go back and listen to that, because we literally went through the age demographic for each social media platform. But we suggest really doing some homework before you just hop online and you're like, all right, I'm going to start posting content. So for instance, set social media goals and objectives. And what I mean by that is asking yourself, what do you want from social media? So before you even begin, you're like, okay, why am I coming on here? I don't want to just come on here because everyone's telling me I should. You need to have some sort of reason. So say you own a surf shop and you have no social media presence and you want more customers. That's perfect. You hate being on camera. Easy. You can sit there and go take pictures of at the beach just on your iPhone. You could take pictures of surfboards. You could do informational graphics.
Infographics are great.
And
yeah. I mean, and you could build them on Canva.
Yeah,
you don't have to be like a graphic designer, but just like showing like an animation or an icon of like a surfboard, and then saying like some cool information about
facts,
surfboard or surfing industry, and then just putting that a lot of people, you might think it's obvious because you've been doing it your whole life, but it's probably not to 99% of people. So
that's true as
people
well.
will learn.
Yeah. Like a lot of people we've worked with too always say, why do people want to hear from me? Who wants to sit there and watch me or listen to me? Every single person in this world has a unique story and value, and you add something. So even if you think, oh my God, everyone's heard this a million times, I promise you they haven't, because people are worried about themselves and their industry and what they're doing. So again, like I'm interested. I would love surfing. So it's just like, but I don't know specific things about it. So if someone thinks no one's going to care about that, I guarantee they will. So when you ask yourself what you want from social media, I'm talking about like, what are you using it for? Do you want more customers? Do you want just for a vanity thing? You want a social media presence online? You want to create a mailing list?
You want to connect with your customer base, get some information
Yeah.
that you might not know.
Exactly. Do research your demographic. Exactly. So make sure you really have that clear, because without that, you're kind of just not going to know even why you're doing it or where to begin. So then after you do that, I suggest, and this is all before you even get on these, research your competition. So again, you have a surf shop. Go and look up online, just do a simple Google search. What are other surf shops in your area doing online, or even other ones around the country? Like we've gotten inspiration from.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you could go, that's a great piece of advice. Just because you're local and you're looking for local customers, you could check out maybe a surf shop in California or something, see what they're doing, and kind of merge one that's in LA or one in San Francisco or one, it's all over the country, and make your version of what they're doing. It's great to get ideas. You'll always find great ideas from your competition. You can borrow them. It's not stealing, it's borrowing.
Yeah. But no, but really, like we've gotten inspiration for our company from, I've seen stuff from like a company I saw online years ago was in England that I was like, oh, I love how they promote their marketing company. And it's not like, I'm not telling you to go and research their competition and then copy every single thing they do, because I would not suggest doing that, because you'll probably get in trouble. But say like, oh, they create these really cool videos that are like really unique, kind of just like pictures of waves and just with a simple text overlay. That's cool. That's interesting. It's beautiful. It's going to get eyeballs on your stuff. You could totally do some type of version of that. And Corey mentioned earlier, if you have not heard of the program called Canva.
Oh yeah.
Canva. It's a game changer, because you could be 85 and have never used a computer before, and you could probably figure this out. It's so simple. They give you like preset templates, so all you have to do is click it and change the type, like just literally change the words, and you can have a really professional looking graphic you can post on your social media.
And everyone's always impressed by them.
Yeah, always. Really. They have like
so quick and so simple to give like designer quality posts or content.
Totally. Yeah. And like I've heard some professionals knock it because they're like, oh, well, that's like the basic stuff. It's not basic in the sense that you can also create stuff from scratch that you could do on Photoshop or a more like advanced program.
Yeah, like I, for example, pay for Photoshop, pay for Illustrator, pay for all these professional tools, and I use Canva.
Yeah, it's
just so much more simple.
It's the easiest. Yeah. Another one is decide what platforms are right for you. So it's, again, there's a lot of them. And again, we covered that last week. So there's like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest. It's like, what the hell? I was talking to my parents yesterday, and my dad was just like, I don't want to get involved in that stuff. That's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like he's completely is so overwhelmed by all of it. He doesn't even know where to begin. But a good way to do that is, again, speaking of competition, is to look at your competition. So for instance, like see what platforms they're on and the audience that they're targeting. So,
and it could be good and bad. You could see your competition is really hitting TikTok and they're going for, say, retirement home, and they're not doing very well. You could be like, you saved yourself some time and money and not go to TikTok for your retirement home business.
Totally. Or like, they're posting something. You see they continually post on Instagram. It's getting no views, no likes or whatever. Maybe that's not the right demographic for your audience. So again, look at your competition, see what platforms they're on. And it could be that you totally copy them and jump on the same platforms, which you could totally do. Or you realize that those platforms are kind of sucking for them, and so you jump on other ones. And a good way to start this is to research the demographics of each social media platform. Again, we did talk about more like hard stats the other day or last week. But for instance, you might assume that if you're trying to target Gen Z, which is, they're what, like early 20s now, I guess, Gen Z?
I
don't know. We're millennials, so the ones before us. You might think, we hear this all the time. They're like, oh, Gen Z, they're too young. They're never going to be on Facebook, or they're never going to be on LinkedIn, or they're not going to be on Pinterest. Turns out that, for instance, data actually shows that nearly a quarter of Facebook users are actually aged 18 to 24.
That's hundreds of millions.
That's hundreds of millions of people, which I was kind of shocked by, because we always say, especially to our older clients, we actually say to everyone, you should always have a Facebook page. But typically, the older you think of an older demographic on Facebook, not true. So, you know what I mean? That's why you got to research and literally just type in stats of like age demographic of people on different social media platforms. So if you only want to target, for instance, you're very specific and want to target 18 to 24-year-olds, then see where they're on. Maybe they're on Facebook, they're probably on Snapchat, and they're probably on TikTok. Great. Those are your 3 apps you're going to focus on. Done deal. You can start making content. Facebook and Pinterest are actually the top social networks for boomers. So what are boomers are like?
You just said boomers.
What? Why?
I don't think that's like the PC way to.
Is it? Is it not? It's a baby boom generation.
Is it Gen X?
No, Gen X is the one above us.
I get that.
Yeah, so isn't Gen X like the weird in between,
the
like 40 something?
No, you're right. Baby boomers.
Yeah, so baby boomers. I think people have like made it into a thing because they say like, okay, boomer.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's, yeah.
No, you're right.
Okay, so, but Facebook and Pinterest are the top social networks for boomers. And aside from 18 to 24 being on Facebook, adults over age 65 are actually Facebook's fastest growing audience segment, which I didn't know that.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So if you're in that age range, if your customers are in that age range,
get on Facebook and make some content that they'll like.
Get on Facebook and make, yes, exactly. And even if that's not your demographic, always have a Facebook page. Okay, number 4, know your audience. So this is, if you already have a brand or business, then this is obviously a no-brainer, because you already have an advantage in this department. And that's because you already have a customer base. So if you have a surf shop, you know who's attracted to your store, who wants to buy your stuff, etc. So you're going to have a pretty solid idea of who you want to target and appeal to on social media. So for instance, if you own a fishing store and know that your customers are mainly men aged 50 to 75 who live in Martin County, boom, you know exactly who to target on social media and who to research to figure out what age range is on what platform, so you can jump on that platform.
Exactly. And make content specifically for those people.
Yes. Yeah. So I would definitely suggest, if that's you and your company, I know it's very specific, but definitely get on Facebook. Pinterest is like a whole other platform that we could probably cover in our own episode. It's more like, I always go on Pinterest to look up design stuff or like furniture.
Totally. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, design, furniture. And then what kind of goes with that would be like moving services. And so it's not just like interior directing, but people like who are probably decorating because they have a new home or they're moving into a new home. So you could think like moving services or plumbing or HVAC or,
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
So it's like connected.
Totally.
Like we did a whole series of advertisements for a fitness brand on Pinterest. It didn't really do that well because people, I guess, aren't really going to Pinterest for
That's true.
Workout tips. They're going for pretty things and art ideas and things for their home.
Pinterest is like an online, which I know Instagram kind of, because Instagram's very visual, but Pinterest is really more of like an artsy skews more female, I'd say.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like 70-30 female.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's definitely a high percentage of female, but if you have any type of art business, I follow people on it who have literally just make pretty stationery. Stationery businesses kill it on there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, on all of these platforms, you can run ads. So each piece of content you make, you can turn into an ad.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Yeah. And, you know, as you find out, as you do this research and you know your audience and you know where they are, there is some specific content dimensions, you know, that you could use. So once you have the idea and you want to make it, not every piece of content can live on each piece of social media. So, for example, you've probably seen YouTube videos, and those are like your TV. Those are widescreen.
Yes.
That's kind of, if you're making widescreen videos, that's, you know, I'm sorry, if you're going on YouTube, you should make like widescreen videos because people are used to, you know, watching it full screen, turning their phones to the side or watching it on a bigger screen. But if you're making something for a younger generation, maybe on TikTok or Instagram, vertical video is now the whole thing. So it's basically, you know, the video you see on your TV flipped on its side. So it's long, it's upright. And just keep that in mind. You know, I don't want to get too into the weeds here, but if you're shooting on your cell phone, you know, turn it one way for your YouTube footage and turn it the other way for your Instagram and your TikTok and your vertical video. Also, Pinterest is vertical.
And Pinterest is vertical. This used to be, this wasn't the biggest deal a few years ago. And now, especially since TikTok has gained popularity, it's almost like if you post a non-vertical video on vertical platforms, they don't perform as well.
Totally. It's because the platform itself wants you to be native, and it wants you, which means it belongs in that platform. And it basically, it's all about real screen real estate. So if you know, people are on TikTok and they're on Instagram, it's, you know, it's really difficult to turn their phone to the side. You know,
super difficult.
So they don't want to do that. You know, they want to keep scrolling with their phone upright. So you got to make the content for what they're doing. And if you put a landscape or a horizontal video into TikTok, it's just going to take up 10% of the screen. When if you go vertical, it's going to take almost 100% of the screen. So why not? You know, it's like, I always say, it's like if you bought a billboard and then you only use 10% of it and you left the other parts white or black, why would you do that? You wouldn't do that.
No, that's actually a really great comparison, because I would get really frustrated because I'm on like all the apps. So I'm like, why do I have to sit there and re-edit my YouTube video to put on Instagram? But then I realized that app, like, it's like they're watching you, which they probably are. And they're purposely not promoting it as much, and people aren't going to look at it as much because it's not taking up the whole screen. So again, that's a technicality. You can always just ask us questions too. wakeandmakemedia.com. You can message us. You can email us, and yeah, we can answer any of these questions, because that's a technical thing that gets kind of confusing.
Totally. And actually, when I was posting this right here, our radio show that we filmed, I posted it on Instagram Reels, and it even said full screen videos perform better on our platform. So is this, you know,
said that?
Yeah, it actually said that. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah. They were hiding, because I would.
Yeah, they were trying to be sneaky at first, but now they're just like straight up, hey, you need to post.
Yeah, because these apps they've gotten so competitive, because really the first thing was, I mean, after MySpace, if you had a MySpace, came Facebook. Facebook was like really, you know, got big in like 2011, 2012 is when it really started to take off. And then quickly Instagram came out, and it was just those two. But now
there's Twitter.
And Twitter. Yeah, you're right. Twitter too. But now there are so many platforms that the platforms are getting really competitive, and they keep putting out features that the other one has. So they want to know that you're really valuing their app and not another one. So that's why it's important to kind of tweak your content for each app, and that could literally just be the size of it. That's all you have to change.
Right. Yeah. And so you know, there's some tricks that we do when we're filming our content that will allow you to put the same video on YouTube on vertical video. A good example of that is if you go to our YouTube page is this radio show. So, we filmed the whole thing horizontal. It's 50 minutes. You can check it out, the full episode. And then I cut it up in minute chunks and put it on shorts, YouTube shorts. And there you can see the vertical version of it. It still is the same content. It's just native for that specific platform.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so that's if you don't know your audience yet and you're hopping on social media the second you are starting your brand or business. But if you're obviously, that's if you already have a brand. I'm sorry, I said that in reverse. If you're starting your business at the same time that you're hopping on social media, this is obviously going to take a bit more time because you have to know, you have to do your market research. You're making a business plan, which is a whole other thing we could talk about. But it's a crucial step for any brand or business, not just online or general, to really get to know your audience. So you need to know, and the more specific you can get, the better, not just in terms of like selling, just in terms of your business, but even for how you're going to promote yourself online. And it's important to do market research and get familiar with the people who you want to sell to. So consider your brand image, what it is in general, and make sure that it translates to social media. So again, say you own a surf shop, you have like big blue lettering, your logo is a wave. I'm thinking of like the most like typical thing ever. You got, you sell a lot of like Billabong. You go to the beach every weekend. Like it's easy to know who you're going to target. You're going to target surfers in your area, and you're going to want to use those colors and that feel when you're posting on social media. So think of social media as just another arm of your own business. You don't want to have a surf shop and then people go and look you up on Instagram, for instance, and you have like, if all your stuff is blue, for instance, people are going to get super confused if they go to your page and they see pictures and videos of like neon yellow, really modern, crazy fonts, nothing to do with surfing. I don't know why you would do that, but it's going to confuse people. So just think of,
and then they're going to leave your website.
And then you're going to lose them. So think of your physical storefront, or, if you don't have a physical storefront, that's fine. But think of the product you're selling and make sure your social media is totally in line with that. And then decide what type of content you want to make. So we mentioned earlier that there are obviously a million different types of content to make: videos, pictures, graphics, blogs, podcasts. Since we're talking about social media, the easiest way to get started is to create videos, pictures, or graphics, in my opinion, because it's hard if you're blogging on your website, for instance, to put that on social media. You can always do like an infographic.
Right. Yeah. But you definitely don't want to just post a bunch of text.
Well, I've seen people do that. So I've seen, the other day I saw somebody I follow. I don't remember who it was. It actually might have been one of my friends. They had a blog written about them. It was like a press article, but it wasn't from like a big publication. So they just took a screenshot of the blog and then put that picture on their Instagram, and it got like 4 likes. Because
right, yeah, it looks like an accident.
Yeah, like it's not visually appealing. So again, just because the blog could be really informational, what sucks for social media, if you're not into the whole visual stuff, is that you need to make sure it's appealing in some way. So don't just like, we've seen this a lot with food bloggers, like more amateur food bloggers, which obviously everyone's an amateur when they begin. So no hate on that. But like, we've seen even some bigger food bloggers, especially when we lived in Charlotte, like they'll go to restaurants and the whole point of their page is to promote food and get, probably they usually get paid by restaurants to promote their content. They could get sponsorships. So you can make good money doing it. But they'll go into a restaurant and it's this beautiful meal, but they take a picture on their cell phone after they've half eaten it and the lighting's terrible. Yeah. It's like mashed up. And
it looks less appealing.
Yeah, Corey and I've seen a few where we're like, we don't want to go to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And then we end up going and it's actually amazing. But the picture is like actually hurting you.
Yeah. Pictures say 1,000 words for sure.
Literally.
Food.
Yeah. So you want to make sure, just keep that in mind, no matter what you're posting on, visually appealing. Obviously, if you're just posting a blog on your website, that doesn't need to be visual appealing. That's not why people are going there. They just want to read it. So not to drill this over the head, but if you're going to write a blog, just do not take a screenshot of the plain text and put that on your social media. I think it's really boring.
Agreed.
So for video ideas specifically, again, we could do a whole episode of just talking about like blog ideas, picture ideas, video, okay, everything. But because video is probably the highest it translates the best in terms of generating revenue.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just tried and true, and it keeps progressing. You know, I every single time I've ever done a test where it's a picture versus an animation versus a video, the video wins every single time.
Every time.
On views, likes, revenue, clicks, every single time.
And Corey and I really like tested this for years because we're like, we'll take an amazing picture, even multiple pictures, you could swipe through them and it's like not even comparable to the video.
Yeah.
And it could be not even that great of a video. There's just something about video and it's like these apps are pushing it more. It just gets more eyeballs. And 86% of video marketers say that video is effective for generating leads. So that's a really high percentage. That's like almost 100% of marketers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can just convey so much more information through videos. You can, and it's easier to digest for your customer. Video really is king, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Corey's
kind of biased.
Corey's a cinematographer,
so for like my whole life.
Yeah, but I mean, also in general, though, I even for myself take aside the fact that like we love making videos. If I see a video on social media, I'm way more likely to watch that than a picture because people zone out on social media. People go on social media while they're on the toilet, while they're walking their dog, while they're talking to someone, and they're just mindlessly scrolling. So think of just, you could scroll through pictures, but if you see this epic video, it's going to get you to stop.
Right. Yeah.
And so this makes original video marketing a super important strategy for anyone who is working on content creation. And again, like I told you about, one of our clients who hated being on video. And I know this is a big thing for women because not speaking for all women, but I know for myself, I feel like I have to do my hair. I have to do my makeup. I have to be like mentally okay. Whereas Corey will be like, let's shoot something right now. And I'm like, I just got out of bed. I look like a crazy person. I'm not hopping on a video right now. So I know it's different for guys, but
I should probably take more time to get ready, but
no, it doesn't. Guys can just like, if you're not in your pajamas or you didn't just like wake up out of like a drug-induced coma, you could be okay, in my opinion. Like you don't need to sit there and put on like eyeliner.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Debatable.
Well, no, it's different. So I know this is a big thing for women. But that's okay because you don't need to show your face on camera. And if you do want to show your face and you're just scared, again, I've worked coaching like so many men and women, but this usually falls on women on creating content. And like, I'll just sit with them for multiple times before they even actually publish one of the videos and just get them comfortable in front of the camera. And that's great. Like I understand if you're not used to being on camera, it can be very intimidating and overwhelming. But there's also workarounds. So say you're like, I absolutely hate it. There's no way in hell I'm getting on video. I look like a crazy person. I hate how I look, etc. That's fine. You could do animations. You could animate like hard to understand ideas.
Yeah, you can shoot a lot of B-roll, which is like, close-ups or, it doesn't actually, it's just footage of what you're talking about. So there's A-roll and B-roll. A-roll would be you talking. B-roll would be showing what you're doing. You could do a bunch of just videos of the things you're talking about and then do a voiceover. And then it's, it's still a nice video with your voice on it. But you don't have to be in front of the camera.
And again, for instance, the chef, she's one of our good friends, but we did a lot of stuff for her. I said she hated being on camera, so she started taking amazing pictures. And I just remember this. She started filming herself just with her iPhone, herself cooking. And she posts those all the time. So it's like super simple. She'll just be stirring pasta, then she'll be putting on some sauce. And she's not in the camera at all. She doesn't even say anything. She just adds some music in the background and that's it. So again, doesn't need to be on camera. You could also do how-tos and tutorials. So say you're a dog trainer. I don't know. And yeah, anything. Don't you follow a dog trainer? Or you watch something with
yeah, I watched a master class on dog training. Yeah, it was very insightful. I learned a lot of stuff. You know, very good. But he also has a television show. I don't remember his name.
He has a television show, but I guarantee he also probably has a social media, Instagram or Facebook or something. Yeah. And you can sit there and actually, this is a better example. There's a doctor I follow. He's a psychiatrist, and he sits in the same chair in an office that's like nothing special. And he literally just sits. I'm pretty sure he's almost always wearing the same thing. And every day he gives a 1-minute piece of advice about a different mental health issue. Super simple. Talks to the camera. I'm pretty sure it's shot on his iPhone. And for instance, so the other day he was talking about anxiety, 3 tips to manage your anxiety holistically. Boom, boom, boom. That was it. Tutorials. There's people who do, if anyone likes HGTV, there's people who do. Corey loves. Well, we both do. But people who how to saw a table, how to buff a tabletop. And
oh yeah, I mean everything from, you know, we recently bought a house and I didn't know anything about irrigation. So I learned about how to water the grass on YouTube.
Yeah, just literally.
It was a very low quality video, but it had millions of views. Yeah. And I'm sure it did well for the business who made it, because it was a business, you know, landscaping business in like, I don't even know, Arkansas that made it. So I'm sure they're killing it in Arkansas. 4 million views.
Yeah. Okay. A good example too is one of the worst videos I've ever made. It was me on my iPhone filming, and I looked at it recently. I made it like 5 years ago. My makeup's running down my face. I look like I'm drunk. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I had just gotten back from work. I was a mess. But I gave 5 tips to create comedic characters because I'm a comedian. So I just listed off. It was like a 5-minute video, just listed off advice to create comedic characters. It's my highest watch video. It has thousands of views, like hundreds of comments of people saying this was so useful. Wow. So again, you don't need to look perfect, or it doesn't need to be perfectly filmed to be effective. You can also do product demos. So I guess say you own a vacuum cleaner store.
I love these examples.
Really, you like this? I don't know where these are coming from. No, it's Friday. You can show how to use a vacuum cleaner. You like that?
That's good.
Yeah.
Or how to empty a vacuum, because honestly, I didn't know how to do that.
Didn't we look at
until I was in college? Yeah.
No, but I think I've looked up something like that because, you know, a lot of hair gets trapped in the from a dog gets strapped to the vacuum.
It's not intuitive.
Yeah, exactly. Again, graphics, go to canva.com. You can get a free version, and they have like animated graphics you don't have to do anything with. They have different like colors, logos, fonts. Like, it's so easy to create graphics on there.
Yeah.
You can create pictures of yourself. Again, say you're a surf shop, go to the beach, take a video of your phone of the pretty beach, maybe yourself, a video of like the waves coming in and out. I don't know. There's just tons of different simple ways to do it.
Think ocean.
Exactly. Another thing you could do is user-generated content. So
commonly called UGC. If you ever see that acronym, that's what that means.
It's always UGC. I see that all the time. And I didn't know what that was. I knew what user-generated content was, but I didn't know that stood for it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out. But what this is any form of content. So that could be text, posts, images, videos, reviews, etc., that are created by individual people, so not the brands, and then published to a social network. So for instance, I saw, was it Dove? I literally saw one yesterday. It was some big brand. Let's just say Dove for the sake of it. Dove, don't sue me if it wasn't you. Or maybe it was a jewelry brand. I've seen Dove do this though, but they will take they'll get one of their followers, or, you know, someone who is a loyal fan or uses their product, and they'll get that person to create content for them.
Yeah. And it's so what how can you get anything more genuine than an actual customer doing something about your brand just because they want to do it?
Totally. Like we work with a medical company. They basically they have a product that tests the strength and endurance of employees who are working in really physically demanding jobs, so to make sure they don't get hurt, basically. But they've had doctors or other employees who have used their service. We've interviewed them, and they just sit there and talk about how much they enjoy the product, how helpful it's been, and then we post that on their social media. So the business owner is not doing anything, no one in the company is doing anything. It's an actual client who's giving a testimony, and that goes a really long way. That's probably like one of the most powerful things you could do.
Totally.
So
yeah. I mean, it's basically like a really more valuable version of like a Google review, which are super valuable in themselves. Yeah,
that's true. So again, especially if you're an established brand or business and you have really loyal customers. Let's go back to the surf shop again. And you have this guy who comes in all the time. He's been using your boards for years. He loves your products. If he feels comfortable, sit down with him, film him on your iPhone. He says, wow, I love Joe's surfboard so much. Changed my life. I live here every day. This is really getting crazy, but he loves it. Post it on your social media. It's going to translate to more customers. I almost guarantee it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, okay. So this was, again, more ways to get started to create social content for someone who's never done it before. So again, just to reiterate, you're going to do research, make a plan, see what you are even interested in creating, who you're targeting, etc. Then research your competition, see what they're on, see what platforms are right for you. So if you are only targeting Gen Zers, you're going to want to focus on the younger platforms, which would be, like we said, Facebook for sure, but then also maybe you also do TikTok.
Yeah. You make that vertical video for TikTok and Instagram, and be where your audience is.
Exactly. And then you're going to get to know your audience if you don't already, get really familiar with them. And you are then going to consider your brand image and make sure that translates.
And so a great way to get to know your audience is by making content, different kinds of content, and seeing what sticks.
Totally. And that's even if you have an established brand or business already. And then most importantly, decide what type of content you want to make. And so next week, we're going to cover very specific ideas that you could do to create your own original content. So stay tuned for next week. We will be back. This is Megan Ager.
This is Corey Turner. We're super excited to share some more tips and tricks on digital marketing. If you would like to watch our other videos, go to our YouTube, Wake and Make Media, and check out our website, wakeandmakemedia.com.
And this is Let's Get Digital. Have a great weekend.
Bye.